Here on the Mobile World Congress, this is a SPOTX stand with Allen Klosowski. He's the VP Mobile and Connected Devices at SPOTX, representative or manager of this. Hi, how are you, Allen?
I'm doing
Everything
great.
fine?
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
It's the first day, I think. A lot of people here we see, no? It's getting good. It's getting well. I want to ask you first, what is SPOTX and what kind of services does it provide, please?
Sure. So SPOTX is a platform that media owners, broadcasters, mobile app developers, connected television developers use to kind of manage all of their video advertising across all of the different screens that they have.
Okay, with this moment we are listening a lot about connected television. No, it's one of the big hypes this year. Also from you over the past year. Also, how is that connected to mobile advertising? Can you explain the relation connected television, connected consumers to mobile advertising?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at connected television, it's very similar to mobile apps in many aspects. So if you look at the kind of the environment, the usage, the pattern, and the way that it works, it's very similar to the way that advertising is delivered in mobile applications. They utilize things like our SDKs, but it's also very long-form content, and it's part of the overall picture for a media owner or broadcaster and how their content is consumed. So their content is consumed in mobile devices. It's consumed on large screen televisions through these connected television devices like gaming consoles or streaming media devices. And it's also consumed on desktop. Where SPOTX sits is we help kind of connect all of that, both for the buyers who are interested in working with these media owners and broadcasters and the people who have the video content themselves.
So it's much more than only smart TV, no?
Much more than smart TV.
Okay,
When you think about like connected television world, you're thinking about any of the video that's kind of delivered over OTT, which includes things like gaming consoles, streaming devices like Chromecast or Roku devices or other Android TVs, Apple TVs, the gaming consoles themselves, and the smart television. So it's all of that. And really the user is now on all of these devices, plus their mobile phone and their desktop. Right?
Why is it so important for broadcasters?
I think when you look at it from a broadcaster perspective, what you're seeing is that these users now have a new expectation of how they want to consume content. They are going to maybe start on their television, they're going to move to their phone, they're going to finish on their tablet. It's part of a whole path now. And the thing is, the content has to be able to be picked up on one device and left off on one device, picked up on the next device, and there has to be an advertising strategy on top of that, and that's what we here at SPOTX are solving.
Is connected TV a catch-up only?
So when you think about like what's happening now in OTT and connected television, it really started out as I think video on demand, so a lot of subscription video on demand. Now we're starting to see an explosion in advertising-supported video on demand and in live itself. And live is very interesting because there's pre-rolls and mid-rolls and ad breaks and long-form content. And we're starting to see a lot more live TV in addition to that video on demand mix. And most of it is advertising-supported.
But people are going more to video on demand, you think? Not people, the consumer is moving in Europe, in the States, where to video on demand, to see the video when they want it, the television?
Yeah, I think video on demand has certainly become, kind of what has launched the idea, because people stopped going to the video stores on their corners and going out and renting movies. They started being able to get that delivered online, which changed their expectation. But now those same consumers are wanting to watch sports games or live news and other things. We already have clients that are delivering both sports and live news across these devices into these OTT environments on connected television, mobile, and desktop.
Okay, another thing I want to ask you, please, the difference, can you explain the difference audience usage of smart TVs or platforms like Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku, and dongles like the Chromecast, which TV from a mobile phone to the screen, what's the difference also for the advertiser, no?
Yeah, so what I think you see on the smart television side of things, which are your LG TVs, your Samsungs, Philips, etc., is that what we've seen consistently is those platforms, when the consumer takes that device home, they plug it in, it asks them to connect to the internet. They connect it to the internet, but they don't actually use it to stream their content as much. What we see is the majority of the streaming is actually happening on platforms like Apple TV, Chromecast, Roku devices. These are the types of devices that, even though they have a smart TV, they're taking and they're plugging these things into their television, and that's where they're consuming the content. So then it's about the apps and the experiences across these different environments. That's not to say that smart television isn't being used for video streaming, but it's not being used at the same rate for video streaming that we're seeing as dedicated media streaming devices.
What do you think about YouTube? They say they will change the model, and they will allow everybody to how do you say, to start over the commercials, no? So you don't have to see it all the time. You can start over, no? You can, how do you say, you can jump about it.
And you can kind of
it's a news of we see in these days, no, in this month.
I think you see that somewhat, right? But I don't think that that's going to be the majority of where the advertising dollars and the experiences are going to go. If I'm working with a large broadcaster and that broadcaster has live sports or live news, you're not creating experiences to jump around on those types of things, right? There are a couple of formats out there that allow you to, where the advertiser pays a premium at the beginning, and that allows them to skip, subsequent ad breaks in video on demand content. But I think you're going to see a hybrid of that. But I don't think, as we really start talking about the evolving nature of the environment where that long form content comes over into these environments, and particularly the live content, I don't think that that's.
This is really more for the pre-roll, no? For the pre-rolls, no? For the advertising you see in a different time, no?
Yeah, I think you're still seeing the major advertisers who are looking for a large screen experience that you get in television, and they're looking for full engagement, and that's what they're looking for. That's how they want to spend their brand dollars, and our publishers are the ones that work with them to do that.
What are the advantages connected TV and OTT can bring to the advertisers? Who's the buyer? Is it planned by a TV team, you think, or a digital team? How is that used?
Yeah,
you can say something about this.
It's a really good question. So there's a couple things. I think, because the connected television platform is so much more similar to digital in terms of some of the metrics that it delivers, but it's also very similar to television in the way that other metrics are happening. Like, for example, there's not really a click-through in a connected television environment. However, for advertisers, there's that one-to-one relationship between their audience and their metrics and optimization. So I know one-to-one what audience I'm buying and how that audience is transacted and consumed on that content. And so that's extremely valuable because you can apply data to that in a way that you just simply can't do in a panel-based system. However, when you start thinking about who owns that inside many of the agencies and brands, they're still having difficulty, whether that's the television team, because it is a television experience, full screen, lean back experience, or if that's the digital team, because the digital team knows how to buy and sell in one-on-one attribution versus gross rating points. I think it's a short-lived problem. I think most, just like mobile got solved, most brands and agencies are going to solve this.
Okay. How is the adoption of the in-context unit in Europe? What is that popular? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, the in-content unit and a lot of our kind of in-read style units are really interesting because as we work with the media owners that don't necessarily have a lot of video, they're looking to understand how to enable video advertising into their content, right? And so that's where that in-content unit that we work with publishers, we have our own version of that, which is unique because it's programmatically enabled. It's already backed by all of this demand that's coming from all of these major brands and agencies that are buying programmatically. It's different than I think what a lot of publishers see out there, but it's really beneficial because it allows them to move away from the display rates and display advertising, which is really not an effective way for them to run their business. They need to get to the video CPMs. That's what that enables them to do.
And last question, what does it mean for you to be here in this fair, this big fair? Every year you're here, no? I think it's a lot of years before you're coming here.
Yeah,
it's the third year, fourth year, I don't know.
Yeah, we've been coming here for years. It's great.
Years.
Every
what does
year,
it mean?
It's fantastic. We get to meet with a lot of our partners. Our partners' businesses are evolving. Our business has been continually evolving. Every year, we get a bigger presence here and a bigger team here, and it's because there's so much interest in working with SPOTX, not only in the mobile space, but also all of these other companies are working with us on desktop, and they're working with us in connected television, they're working with us on data, they're working with us on these really interesting engagements.
It's a must be. You have to be here. It's a must be.
Yeah, it's great. Between these and all the other shows, I think it's just it's such an honor to be able to meet with everybody and take the time to be here, and it's great to see everybody in person and from all over the world. It's a nice, great, big event for us.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Thank you very much for your words. Thank you.